There's a war being waged. A war on our identity, our
Explosions
purpose,
lit up
our
Israel's
calling.
night sky.
The world tries to make choices for us. Fear not, for we are not alone in this odyssey of transformation. For even as the tempest rages and the seas churn, there's a guiding light that pierces the darkness, blazing the path ahead. It is a light born of faith and resilience, a beacon of hope that shines forth from the Creator himself. So let us call to arms, my brothers and sisters, for the time is nigh to prepare for what's to come. We shall not falter, for we walk in the footsteps of our spiritual forefathers, guided by the hand of the Almighty. And so as the world changes and the winds of destiny shift, let us stand firm in our convictions, knowing that we are upon the stage of creation for such a time as this.
Point man, let's go. Go. Up front.
Right cover.
Point, you take point on right side of the road. Your team right behind you. We're gonna go on the left side of the road. Stagger formation, 15 yards apart. Decky, you're gunner. Mow them down. Let's do it. Now we made a bunch of noise, so let's be noisy.
So for this course, the planning took us, it's been in the works for a little while. I would say years conceptually. We've been talking about how we should do this kind of thing. It builds more of a, I'll say, responsible citizenry that are more producers and just consumers. So during the first day, all the students came and we met at about 8 o'clock in the morning, went through a registration, introduction to all the instructors, the people taking the class, so they got to know each other on a little bit more personal level there. And these people came from all over the place. I mean, they came from, different states all across the United States. So it was pretty cool to see that collective of people come together just in a learning environment like that. And then we split the group in two. Half went down and began to learn weapons safety, and the other half began to get into the medical side of things.
Basic stop the bleed, how to apply a tourniquet, how to apply an emergency trauma bandage, a chest seal. So this was all just slideshow and book work kind of day to just get the basic knowledges down.
I enjoyed watching the students grasp hold of the knowledge that was being poured upon them, because it was a lot. We poured out from medical to tactical.
Some of the main things that we covered: March protocol. So we talked about mass hemorrhaging, airways, respiration, circulation, hypothermia, and we talked briefly about evacuations as well. So that was kind of what we hit on the medical side of things, and then we cleared the tables out and we did some prac app, on the floor, so they had some hands-on as well.
1, 2, 3. Tourniquet drill, left leg, go. Tourniquet drill, left leg, go. Hand coordination changes under stress. Little stresses cause big issues.
Really?
Yeah, man, it was a really enlightening experience just being involved in it. Definitely had that military feel, a lot of camaraderie between myself and the other instructors, because most everybody's got some type of military background, and sometimes when you lose that, you start to feel kind of a no more dream, you know what I mean? But to know those dreams aren't dead and it's not over, it's great.
Every now and then I get a little bit terrified, but then I see that look in your eyes.
I wrote that song. Getting an opportunity to take some of those experiences and employ them into other people is very rewarding, bro. Very much enjoyed it.
It was kind of the process behind all this was kind of to overload the front end so that it would feel a little bit overwhelming, but then break down the skill sets as we go throughout the weekend. So we're getting ready to do some scenario work, and we're setting up gear for ease of access and for use. So then that way you should be good to go. We're getting ready to do some more scenario stuff and roll into actually practical application. So what you're going to start seeing is, I'm not going to say force on force, it'll be more force on target, but you'll see threats, you'll see some prac app here on the medical side where they're going to run tourniquets, they're going to do pressure dressings, all this kind of stuff. So everything that they've just learned through that whole March protocol stuff, they're going to get a chance to run right now in live time scenario. They learned basically individual clearing of a room and team clearing of a room along the lines of would I defend my own home? You know, I find myself at home in the evening and someone's broken into my house and I have to make sure my kids are okay. How do I move from one room to the other? Just certain things like that you know, I think are super valuable in the day and age that we live in. And so it kind of got to a culminating event there where we learned to do just some basic room clearing, and we kind of threw them into the mix of a tactical environment just to kind of take them out of their comfort zone and kind of introduce something new before we moved.
No idea of what they were getting ready to get into, getting them prepared for what the scenario is going to be for the weekend.
Briefly went over basic fundamentals of overall safety with how to handle a firearm. We went into a little bit of how to move with it as individuals and then as a team, how to use it in a defensive manner if you had to protect yourself in a close quarter environment.
So this portion of training is right now we're working through room clearing and team movement skills. So what you see here is learning to safely and effectively clear a room with two men. So they work a hallway, they make entry into a room, and they make sure that it's clear. And I would say the weapons that they're using, they're actually not considered firearms by the ATF, but they are a simulated weapon. It's like a glorified paintball gun, essentially. But so they're the same weight, same feel as a real AR-15, and so it makes it a little better, a little more realistic.
We did a walkthrough of a slow CQB, which is close quarters combat, but I like to call it close quarters entry. So you're entering a room if there's a bad guy inside. So we did a walkthrough, talk through, and then we sped it up, and we learned how to clear rooms, 1 man, 2 man, and 4 man.
And so anytime you do that, usually it takes hours and hours and hours. I think Travis and I were talking about it, and usually you got to put in 20 to 30 hours just to really start getting the base level of that foundation of skill sets and to be able to perform well, to get that, start developing that muscle memory.
So that's kind of day one. So then, and then they would switch. So every 2 hours we would flip-flop back and forth, and it would just be critique, teach, critique, and then review. And it was kind of just this continual movement in that manner. So day 2 started off bright and early. This time we were not in the classroom setting, we were actually on our remote training location. It just kind of switched up the, I'll say the feel a little bit. It was kind of a cool thing to see people come expecting something and then getting something different. Meaning they were in the classroom setting and it was kind of like a slower pace, a gradual learning. This was all prac app. So the whole point was to get people in a position where they were able to apply everything they had learned the day before with as minimal class time as possible. Hands-on, we were like, let's get them working and get hands-on the best that we can. We're at a remote training location here, and so what we're doing, it's a tactical medicine course. So we're working group one will be working some medical stuff, a little more geared towards like being out in the wilderness, and then Team 2 is doing just basic movement drills. So a lot of the guys in the class haven't done this before, so it's kind of just an intro class, and they've been doing well. They're picking up stuff pretty quick. So today we'll do lanes where they'll learn patrolling techniques, they'll do different medical scenarios, and then in the end we'll do full-blown scenarios with movement and medical all together. So that's kind of what we got going on day 2, and we'll check in with you a little bit later.
1, 2, 3. Hey, next exercise, squats. Position exercise, ready? Down. Up. Down.
Stress. I don't know what's gonna happen, so we'll find out. I'm gonna get muddy. I know that.
Feeling a little nervous, but excited to learn and to just get out there and put what we learned yesterday to work.
We're just getting a kit set up here for real life emergencies. Just in case, God forbid, we would have some kind of incident today. Getting a kit set up, getting an evac plan together. And we're getting ready to start training, man. So day 2 started out pretty chaotic. It was fun for sure, but we kind of threw the guys right to the wolves and didn't give them much guidance.
Up. Down. Up. Down.
We had a very blended group. We had people that didn't know each other there. You could tell there was some that knew, some that had limited friendships, and then some that were just kind of like me. It's like, I don't know you. And everybody came together very quickly. But I think that happens when you throw them into this type of training scenario. When you bring people to this type of course, you either sink or swim.
You're bleeding out! Get on the ground. Get on the ground. You're not going to put a tourniquet on if you're standing. What are we doing? Time to wake up. Time to get trained.
So day 2, same thing, kind of went over a little bit more of the medical stuff, more in the field, how to work as a team, not only eye-opening when it comes to the whole tactical end of it, but especially the medical end of it, because my background in medical is very slim. Like, I thought I knew how to put a tourniquet on, and then they showed me differently. I thought I knew what pressure bandages were, and I kind of did, but I didn't know how to apply them. So just certain things like that, I could always, I feel like we could always build on our skill sets, whatever they might be, and I definitely did.
I'm a very feminine woman. I never had any military experience, and I thought, well, maybe this is going to be too hard for me. Maybe this is going to be too difficult as a female to do this intense training. The instructors were so patient, the instructors were so helpful, and they were able to really make everybody feel at home in this learning situation.
And then we started teaching simple things like team movement in a rural setting. So we talked about land navigation. We didn't teach any land navigation. We just talked about it a little bit. We talked about patrol routes, how to pick a patrol route, and we talked about just the fundamentals of patrolling.
Day 2, we were put into a scenario where we had to patrol a particular road. We didn't know what to expect. We were just told to patrol it. Again, we really didn't know. This was our very first scenario, so we really didn't know what to expect or what to do fully at this point. And I saw that there was somebody who was laying on the ground to my right. I was the assistant medic for this scenario, so I ran over there, called for the lead medic, and then we also saw somebody to our right, which we didn't know if that was an enemy or if that was somebody that wasn't in play. Turned out to be not somebody in play. We started to receive fire from the enemy, and we started to return fire. Yes, casualties moved. As we were returning fire and protecting the lead medic, and another one of our team members took that casualty off to the side to make sure that they were out of harm's way. The first scenario that we had was particularly nerve-wracking because we didn't know what to expect. And when we came upon a casualty and we were having fire returned to us, it felt chaotic. It felt definitely outside of our comfort zone to handle, especially for that first scenario.
Your heart rate elevated and having to think on top of it, think critically, not only for your team, but for yourself to keep yourself out of harm's way. Definitely increased heart rate, increased awareness, and
Sometimes had no clue what the heck was going on, but definitely need to be in shape, need to have better physical condition, and need to train with the gear that you have.
They react, they set up their base of fire, and they had to treat a casualty and make an extract. Pretty simple in the fact that it was rudimentary skills, but most of them had never done anything like this before. So to put them in this environment, it felt like drinking from a fire hose for some of them. We had a great after-action report, sat down, a good debrief, and just said, hey, what are you thinking? What's going through your head? You know, what can you do better? You know, things like that. And so it was kind of nice to have their input and say, hey, this is how I felt, this is what happened. And that's kind of what we're looking for. We're looking for that student and instructor engagement where we can help simulate the scenarios better, get them in a position where they're going to be able to apply the skills that they've learned effectively, and we're not taking away or overwhelming them too much.
Hey guys, we gotta move out.
Guys out there.
We were told to go and meet up with another team. We could see the team in the distance, but we knew in order to get to them, we were pretty much going to be out in the open, so we had to move quickly. By the time we got to them, we thought we were going to be fighting the enemy with them. It ended up, a smoke bomb happened, and all of them ended up being casualties that we had to rescue. As we were rescuing the casualties, the enemy was returning fire, and we were being flanked on every side.
And I'm the medic, so I have all these casualties laying on the ground, have no clue what to do. Yelling for cover fire, I'm trying to get the casualties out of harm's way and get them taken care of, and that's when it really hit me, where I was like full kit, helmet, gun, casualties, guns, all strapped over my shoulders, and I'm like, what is going on? But that wasn't it, because here we had to get them back to the LZ, which was a half mile up the road. So now we gotta get 4 casualties, unresponsive, a half mile up the road, full gear, guns on back. Yeah, that was eye-opening. That's when it hit me, like, Pat, you're not in shape, you suck.
It's a good way to just kind of push and see where you're at physically. And yeah, so it's just a fun little exercise, we get to use the smoke and the flashbang. So.
But on day 2, after that first iteration of us really giving it to them, the next mission we kind of helped coach them through it and show them where they could have done better in the first iteration, and just taking some things into consideration moving forward. So I think, throwing them to the wolves, kind of beating them up at first, and then, dialing it back in and showing them where they need to work.
And then when we got back, all the instructors circled around us and they were like, okay, here's how bad that was. And they broke it down, piece by piece, where we went wrong, where we patrolled wrong, how we patrolled wrong, why we didn't bound in the 4 people that were, I was getting shot in the back, and I thought it was my own team. Here, Marszewski comes out of the woods, and he's like, you're dead. So, yeah, it was so eye-opening. Gave us definitely something to learn on.
All in all, day 2 was a good. It went exactly the way we hoped it would go. It was just a good experience, I think, for everybody all the way around. People were pushed physically, pushed mentally, and just the experience itself. I don't know that you're going to find that really anywhere else. They did a great job yesterday. They really, from the beginning of the day to the end of the day, was night and day difference. I mean, you could see confidence levels were up. The focus was up. It went from being scared and timid to being confident and assertive, and it was pretty good. So today we'll have a couple different scenarios. We'll probably do another mass casualty event. We'll use both teams, to operate. Where you have one team will treat the casualties, one team will pull security, and then they'll do the extract. But we're gonna go over the use of a SCED. Probably some sort of litter carry to make life a little bit easier for them, rather than just kind of talking about the individual carries and whatnot. So it should be good. I think they're going to be sore today. So the tempo might be a little bit slower to start, but I think once we get warmed up and ready, I think it'll be a good day. I think we'll be rolling.
We live in a world that most people think, oh, I'll just pick the phone up and call 911. Their mindset is someone else is going to save me. Someone else is going to help me. Someone else is going to be the one to render care to my family.
You know, as far as the force-on-force stuff goes, a lot of people might not think that has applicability. So in a lot of these other trainings that I've done and instructed, I always ask the question, who here has been in a firefight? And, you know, sometimes you'll see one or two people raise their hands. Well, who here has seen a medical emergency? And every single person raises their hand.
You need to protect your friends, your family. You take the skills that we teach you onto that and teach them, sharpen their skills, just to be safe in any environment.
And in a situation where it's life or death, which could be any time, any place in the world we're living in, I think that these skills that you're going to receive from this class are like invaluable. You're never going to be able to match it. So I would recommend anybody, you know, I don't care who you are, what age you are, they're skills that you should have.
Militia, are you training people to be aggressive? And no, it's not. We're trying to immerse you into a situation where there's a lot of chaos. There's a lot of places in this world that you can go where that is a daily routine, that chaos, the violence, aggression, and having those life-saving tools on the medical side are things you can take into car accidents, you can take it into accidents at work.
If you really want to sharpen your skills, if you really want to make a difference in this world, we need to protect what's ours. Your family, yourself, your kids, and your environment.
So yeah, whether you're a Navy SEAL or whether you've never picked up a firearm or trained with a tourniquet, I think this is very applicable for anyone.
We could die very quickly in a traumatic event or needing to respond to something. And if we don't live in that response-ready mindset, then we're not going to survive that. Our family's not going to survive that. Our friends, our loved ones.
There's not a restriction on who can take this course. We want any responsible adult who can stand in the gap and say, yes, I'm willing to be responsible, I'm willing to give back to my community, and I'm willing to care enough about people to be an asset rather than just a liability.
Up front.
Right cover.
Point. You take point on right side of the road. Your team right behind you. We're going to go on the left side of the road. Stagger formation, 15 yards apart.
My team, he is now lead. Number 1 lead. You listen to him.
If I go down, she's lead. Work your way up. Guys, cover his 6. Decky, you're gunner. Mow them down.
So final day, pretty much rolled right into force on force. And a lot of four-wheeler traffic in the area. Keep our eyes open. We didn't know what was going on. We didn't know where the hostages were, where the team was, and where to meet them. We just knew that we had to walk down this road. So we're going down the road. We get to the bottom of the road, and there's a truck with the door hanging open. And casualty leaning up against the truck, and it didn't look good. It looked like he was done. Grabs me, starts kicking, flailing, all that stuff. So we're talking to him, hey, calm down, it's okay. Turns his head, and he has this giant cut, and his neck was bleeding. So we started putting pressure on his neck, just to find out that shortly here later he expired, passed away, and we couldn't help him. Our objective still, we have these hostages that we have to get to. Grab the team, we get back into formation, said a prayer for Ken, because he was done. Started patrolling down. Here we hit the same opening where we got ambushed the day before. So as a team, we communicated, bounded across, got to the other side, got set up, and then we were waiting for our other team to come down and meet up with us.
I met up with Pat, and Pat was then took over as team lead for everybody. Then I became secondary lead for the group. So we met up, and as we started to patrol the road, because we were looking for casualties at this point, we were told that there were people who were kidnapped and possibly casualties, so we were trying to find them. As we patrolled the road, we did run into 2 people that were sitting on the side of the road. Pat then instructed the point person to go and take a look and see what was going on.
You guys. Because, you know, you don't want to lose your friends, I don't want to lose mine, right? All over the place. Yeah, all over the place. So,
hey, team lead.
Yo.
After we realized that those 2 individuals were not a threat, we decided to move forward. As we were starting to make our way forward, we came across ATV that was in the road, so it made us curious as to what was happening. And then the point person heard some rustling in the woods, went to go check it out, and we ended up finding the casualties down there.
So we finally get down where these hostages are. We see hostages. We're not sure, friendly, unfriendly. You see guns. Point man yells back, "Hey, team lead, I see guns. I'm not quite sure what's going on. Looks like there's 4 people there."
As we started to approach the casualties, that was when we were fired
You guys
upon.
need any help?
And then all of a sudden we start taking fire. So everybody's down, they're trying to get cover, bullets zinging everywhere. It's like, what do? You don't know, you can't just shoot back because there's friendlies over there. Turns out half of the guys that were there with our 4 hostages were bad guys, but they end up getting injured too. We shoot back, some of them get injured. They're laying there, can't walk. So we're running down over the bank, actually post up. We maintained 360 patrol the whole time this time, so we didn't get ambushed from behind. Everybody's posted up, maintaining 360 cover, and the medic and point man went down and started helping people.
Here, circle up! We got 5 injured! Here's 3 shooters! We got 2 against the tree tied up! Total of 5!
Anywhere else? You heard anywhere else? Question. This is going to stop the bleeding, and we're going to save your life, all right?
Hey, shooters, what's going on? Talk to us.
Shooters, were they?
Help us so we can help you.
About 3. As the medics got the casualties to a place where they could move them, that's when we were told to start to move out. Again, continuing to look for the enemy, continuing to provide cover, and fire back when needed.
So we brought him back up, and there ended up being a 4-wheeler on the road. That 4-wheeler had a key in it. What a better opportunity to get the injured out of there, back to the LZ, than to utilize that 4-wheeler. So maintaining 360 cover the whole time, got people loaded up on the 4-wheeler, and slowly started working our way back to the LZ. As soon as we started doing that, we started getting more fire. So fortunately, a good friend gave me some smoke bombs, and I was able to provide some cover for us. So found out wind direction through the smoke, upwind, which covered the whole area where we were running.
You guys smoke to move! Casualties!
And we were able to get out of harm's way for the most part. Got about halfway back across this creek bed where we were and approaching the road that we came down on. As soon as we hit that road, we took on more enemy fire. We had gun guys in the front, heavy gunner in the back, actually eliminated a bunch of the guys that were shooting at us. There was like maybe 2 standing yet, and I had more smoke bombs, so we were able to actually throw more smoke and work as a team and just get us all out of harm's way back to the LZ.
Point man out in front! Isaiah on the road. Now we made a bunch of noise, so let's be noisy.
They did an awesome job. The students reacted the way they should have. They made contact. They dealt with locals in a sense. We had some role players that came in and able to have just regular conversations with folks. And so they had to kind of like engage part of their brain that we didn't warn them about any of this. You know, it was just kind of like we didn't tell them how you deal with people and how, you know, different conversations and, you know, questions to ask and, you know, all this kind of stuff. So it was just a great to see them come along, do it, have a great conversation, get the intel they needed, and then push on to their objective, achieve the objective, and then make the final exfil out night and day from where they started. And it was just a great confidence booster for everybody.
360 guys. And you got that way. Deck, you got that road. Let's go. What do we got? 4 wounded, 2 medics. 360
I think it also gives you a lot of confidence. I know since taking this course that I am way more confident in life in general. I didn't think that I would have that feeling just from taking a TacMed course, but it really does. I think preparation breeds confidence. and that spreads to every area of your life.
I just have so much confidence and self-awareness of my surroundings. Before that, I was, always on my phone when I was walking out. My head was always down. I wasn't really listening to the sounds around me. This TacMed course really helped me understand to be vigilant. Like, you don't know what's gonna happen. You could be fine 1 minute, and then the next minute, you could be saving someone's life.
The coolest part of the weekend was a force-on-force. Camaraderie, definitely a close second. Just the campfire conversations, being at base camp, meeting everybody, getting to learn each other's backgrounds and where everybody, the skill set there was top notch. Fly-by-night paramedics, I mean, these were guys that were on the X, actually went through a couple tours and knew what they were doing. So to learn from that much experience and to cram everything in 3 days, like I said, it was amazing. I think that there's no price tag for that.
There were a lot of people there that never met each other, and after the weekend was over, it was like they were brothers and sisters.
Well, the best thing was watching the actual training out in the mountains. Enjoy that, and watching people learn to feel more at home.
You saw people come together in fellowship, and then you saw them thrown together in training, and then you saw them thrown together in scenario. And by the time we hit scenario, they were leaning on each other.
Just having that kind of impact after you never thought you could have that impact again, not being in the military world, that was very gratifying for me, man.
Pick up on that stuff and then immediately apply it, and it's like something just switched overnight. It was like the biggest compliment we could have gotten.
They far exceeded any expectations, even if, we had high expectations, they far exceeded that, so.
The camaraderie and just the whole weekend brought together people that had to step outside of their realm.
Like, since we were working as a unit, we actually had to fully 100% trust in each other's abilities to protect ourselves and just to keep ourselves alive.
As the only female, I didn't feel out of place at all. In fact, I feel like there was no safer place for me to be anywhere than on that mountain with my team and with our instructors.
Running a business, like, I'm always in charge. So it's being bossed around and being led. That was also a good opportunity for me to take, just for somebody to boss me around for once. It was pretty cool.
So as you hear all these things, right, and as you see the world continue in its decline, take heart. Like, you're in a position where you can make a difference. You can step up. You could be that man or woman of the in-between. You can stand in a gap and make a difference in your community, in your family. And so these are skills that you can continually pass on and improve on. So we're living in a time where people want to record or take pictures or just kind of be, on the outside. I'm asking you to not just be a casual observer, but to be an active participant, not just in your life, but in the life of others. Because we're here for such a time as this.